The following Pulppourri podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Welcome to the Pulppourri Politicscast with Brock and Ben. This podcast is where we discuss the political headlines that intrigue us and all those little jerks that enrage us.
So, speaking of Mark Meadows, like we were off mic,
Yeah.
this cocksucker may be the most,
He's just a skeevy fucking dude.
which is why he might be the most important piece
yeah.
in all of this.
He's the John Dean.
Exactly.
Of all
God, I
this.
couldn't think of a good name. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, that is him. Like,
Yeah.
he's the guy.
He's the fulcrum in the whole
And
pendulum.
now that Jenna Ellis, is that her name?
Yeah.
Put out that tweet about, oh, it was reliable sources. Trump's not going to pay for it. Well, no fucking shit. So, the question becomes, how long does he have before all of them realize he's only out for himself? And I'm talking across all 91 counts. And we all know Mark Meadows is already flipped.
Well, so this is where I think like Georgia is distinct in that the other indictments, they say unindicted co-conspirators and stuff like that. Georgia's like, fuck it, we're going after all of them.
And plus they announce even the jury, like it's not what you just said, the whole unnamed co-conspirator. It's fuck it. Here's everybody.
And I'm just getting hypothetical here, but you're taking a bunch of
seasoned attorneys. Well, except the
I'm
14 people.
I was going to go like you take like Giuliani, and Giuliani realizing that I could spend the rest of my natural life in a Georgia state prison.
Yeah, because they wouldn't put him in federal.
No,
I mean,
because it's
Georgia,
a state charge.
Correct. They would put him in the equivalent of Angola.
Right. He does not want to go there.
That's what I'm saying. None of them do.
So he will and so that's what I'm thinking about. This is Georgia going, no, like we're charging everybody equally in this conspiracy.
Yep.
And then those lily white little men are not going to want to go into a big bad Georgia state prison where there's some nasty fucking dudes there
who have listened to all of the negative shit you've said about them and their families and their race
people
and their people.
So
if you think the white people in Montgomery on the pier fucked around with fucking
they don't have folding chairs in prison.
Nope. They do not.
So
they have toothbrushes.
Yeah, I would think like that's what I like about. I say like. Fuck it. I like it. I love it.
No.
I want some more of it.
Put it this way.
To quote.
If it was Hunter Biden.
Sorry, but
I like it. I love it. I won't know. All right. So if it was Hunter Biden, fan-fucking-tastic. Because I want to watch white meat get put through a state like.
And you know what? Marjorie Taylor Greene would take photos of it and put it up in Congress.
Correct. With everybody doing whatever they wanted to him in the shower.
Sure.
Come on,
because that's the place for pornography.
We've all watched Oz. So I the closing of the grand jury tonight. Breaking news in D.C. I want to know how that now changes the narrative for Florida. Is that Jack Smith just going here? Fine, here you go.
So I think I don't want to fall into a conservative talking point of saying that this is, a deep state conspiracy. But what I do think that you're seeing is different levels of the legal system going, all right, like for instance, there was no point to indict the co-conspirators on the federal charge because Georgia's got them possibly dead to rights.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
So-
they can't be pardoned at the state level.
Yeah. And that is the more fascinating thing to me about this whole constitutional dilemma, which is if you almost want to say, and maybe that is what Jack Smith and DC
Go ahead, say it.
and well are going is like let's give them that
States' rights.
sure, and then that idea is that if he's convicted in New York for non-election issues and then Georgia for election issues, and he's convicted in either or, and what is it? Georgia, the governor can't even commute a sentence.
No.
It has to be
Has to
done
go
by
through-
the parole board.
Correct.
So, which, who knows? There might be a favorable group on there,
At
but
that point, we're past the 14th Amendment. And
I guarantee you
I don't
there's
give a fuck.
a few people from Fulton County on that parole board. So,
They love the Braves.
so, yeah, it's for someone like myself, a history teacher. It's still the same as
history nerd.
like January 6th was horrifying, but at the same time, I'm sitting
I
there
couldn't
going
take
like,
my eyes off
like
of
oh
it.
my god,
Yes.
Like, I'm like, and same as now I'm doing with 9/11. Like in 20 years, this is going to be part of my curriculum.
Exactly.
And I have to explain this, and I have to go through all of it. So
It's happening real time.
So let me pop some popcorn.
That's why I wish.
Not that I
don't
like
wish.
seeing people die and
No,
get
but-
injured, but it's
Growing up in the Reagan era, because that was, I don't appreciate it until I learned about it.
yeah.
I knew it was scummy as a 10-year-old. Of course it was.
Yeah.
Fucking gross.
Because if you had liberal grandparents, they were ranting and raving about it. And you're like, how bad can it be?
Right. We should have known when they brought Nancy Reagan's corpse out there to say no to drugs, and then we had fucking skillets burning and shit. Whatever.
That
Okay.
worked. That worked because crack wasn't a thing.
No, it was not. That's why there is no movie called New Jack City. Wow.
Oh, were they fighting?
Please. Remember the time.
Yeah. No. We're going to leave that in.
Do they fight?
Apparently.
Maybe it's that dude who was out on the street. Are these thin walls?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Kind
matter.
of, yeah.
I mean, if we get shot live
But
on
that's
air.
their kitchen over there. It's not like it's a bedroom.
Oh, yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
You guys.
And we've been doing this for so long, they would have said something.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
now
you
I'm
guys-
worried somebody just got attacked.
You guys are all witness to possibly, could be, maybe some kind of domestic incident. Which fits in perfectly with the Republican debate that we're going to discuss next. So that's tomorrow. I was praying to God that Trump and them were planning on turning themselves in on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but instead they flipped it and they went with counter-programming and Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
All the while, I am...
Yeah, it's like they're doing that, Thursday?
The Tucker Carlson thing?
No, the
Well,
turning
I mean,
themselves in.
if you believe
Is
reports...
it Thursday or Friday?
It's
Yeah.
Thursday at this point is when they're
Yeah.
going to turn themselves in.
Well, so he wants to cancel out the follow-up.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand why he would do it the next day. when
Because the next day is when everybody does analysis of it. But if every camera's focused on the courthouse watching
nobody's
him
talking
drive
about
up.
the debate no matter what happened.
Yeah.
They could have gone scorched earth on Donald Trump,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter because no one's talking about it because I'm getting fingerprinted.
Yeah, because they're watching. I mean, same as with, was that when he went to D.C.? Like CNN watched him come out of Bedminster,
Right.
then his plane taking off, his plane
landing.
him going to the courthouse, and then talking to the people who were in the secure room, who had the CCTV feed.
Yep.
and then him coming out, and then him flying back to Bedminster.
I mean, I'm
was a
surprised
whole
I
day.
didn't think about that because it's always all about him.
Yeah.
So
he gets to
will be,
fuck Ron DeSantis over the
I'm
following day.
I'm more interested in Chris Christie, to be completely honest with you. That guy and the just because other than the other people who at this point really don't matter.
Well, no, or is it where recent polling though shows Tim Scott rising.
Really?
Yeah, I mean he's still at like 2%, but there's a lot of independent voters and even
That's the guy.
Yeah,
I read about him today, but nothing stood out to me.
So but if he's carrying those news headlines going into this debate, this is his time to strike.
Right, and which is that's why I figured
old
Christie.
parlance, strike while the iron's hot.
That's why I figured Christie was the one because he's been pushing. So like he's going to be the one who wants the spotlight on him.
He's at the bottom.
Yeah, I know.
He wants
he
that.
Is.
Yeah. But so here's the question: is that do they try and turn it into that they're an alternative to Trump, or in this case, because DeSantis is going to be there, do they go, we're going to try and show that DeSantis is a sycophant and
he's Trump light.
Yeah.
You like,
and we're the alternative.
You hate Bud Light? DeSantis, he's Bud Light.
Yeah.
For us, for the GOP.
Even though Kid Rock still drinks DeSantis. So
that was fucking beautiful that you said that. God damn it, that was beautiful.
But that's and same with and I'm sorry, and I hate to say it, but
I'm not talking about the Kennedy,
but the Indian American guy who's been gaining some traction, but he still he
gives off douche bro vibes though.
But also to put him in the Kennedy boat, he's got some crazy fucking ass ideas. You just have to listen or look a little deeper into it.
I guess I just don't have the...
Same with like Nikki Haley,
she's the other one who, the more I listen to her, I'm going... Yeah. Like if I were that, it would make sense, but she's not going to reach the people who are on the fence of do I vote for a convicted felon? Allegedly.
Well, and not to hit it over the head, but I mean it's like, to me, where particularly someone like Nikki Haley,
right,
and same with like DeSantis, is that it would be going like, well, I'm not voting for Hitler, I'm voting for Himmler,
right?
Like, okay, well, you're just going for an alternate version of the same reality,
right? We're back to the I'm going to vote against the not worst case scenario,
which is
just
if I were a Republican, which I am not. But like Chris Christie would be an interesting, because
that's why I keep bringing him up.
A seasoned politician who's been through his fair share of scandals,
and he was also part of the Trump, right. But he's also been.
But he's not. Yeah, he's not Ted Cruz.
His hands aren't right. They're not clean. But
he
they
got
don't have
out of
blood
Jonestown before the Kool-Aid.
Correct. He was like the dozen or so people who got out,
and didn't get shot. But that's the.
I love that you put that in there. Thank you.
Well, I mean, that's what happened to the congressman.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
that's why I keep bringing him up, because he's the wild card. Like if they can pull people away from DeSantis to say,
well, and I will say this is that you didn't recognize it at the time, but Tim Scott has been riding that line the whole time. He's never gone full-blown Trump supporter, but he's never gone Trump denier. And this is his chance to get that Iowa, New Hampshire bump before they go to Iowa, New Hampshire, to make his campaign legit and bring in the dough. But yeah, I think it's
I'll have to look into Tim Scott some more. And again,
it's just... We have been making some changes here at Pulppourri. We've shortened our episodes to 30 minutes so you can catch everything we say on the drive home, on a lunch break, or at any other time. We've added video to our repertoire, and we are expanding our social media presence. So check us out on YouTube and smash that subscribe button and use the likes. You can get our socials from the link in our bio, and be on the lookout for our new Politicscast. If you need a change for your taste buds, go to thegdsauce.com and change the way you think about the way you eat. From their signature goddamn sauce to their ghost pepper sauce, they have everything you need to rethink condiments. Help support an independent business by getting rid of your same old condiments and boss up with the goddamn sauces.
All right, let's go with fires. Can we talk about Oprah Winfrey doing it and her house being completely? All right, do we need to clap?
Do you want to?
Yes. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So apparently, if I'm understanding this correctly, Oprah Winfrey is responsible for the fires.
Yeah,
in
so
Maui.
is she in charge of the Jewish space lasers as well? Is that it?
And she must be responsible for Biden falling asleep or petting a dog. Sorry. It's.
This is the world we live in, folks.
I honeymooned in Maui, up the coast from where they were, in Lanai, and I went there, and the banyan tree that they had in the city square was. And I've seen the Grand Canyon and all this other stuff. This thing was. I don't even know how to describe it.
Well, how many years old was it?
Oh, God, I don't know. Thousands?
Yeah.
But, banyan trees have their own, there's just all these, what amount to stumps, trunks of these trees. So to see that really upset me. We also went there to, I think that's where we were snorkeling with turtles.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So I've been there. And it fucking sucks because contrary to what people believe, it is not a bunch of rich white people with blonde hair surfing on the beach. That's not any of those islands.
That's just at the resorts.
Correct. Yeah. And on the Big Island, because that's the commercial business island. The rest of them are just kind of self-contained with resorts. These were people who, God, they lived there and struggled. They were living in huts, just. So to see it be spun the way it is now makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, it's.
It really does.
Well, no, I think that's one where I think you're right in that this would be an opportunity to highlight the real Hawaii.
Exactly.
And yeah, you're hearing about how it affects the hotels and the tourism industry, and that's great. But whether you're the native Hawaiians, you're the families that have lived there since they immigrated before the United States stole that island,
and it was you have a homestead.
And your whole livelihood is gone.
Yeah, because you've got your great-grandparents, your grandparents, your parents, your kids. They were all living in essentially, the same compound, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
They were within walking distance, and you just 86'd all of it got 86'd.
Well, and what a lot of people, or what's not being reported is whether the Big Island or the heavily populated islands, they were overpopulated. So when you get those conditions, not only the amount of people that are affected, but
right.
And on such a small,
people don't realize we were able to
compact
drive
area,
damn near around the island in a day. That's how small this place is.
And if
that's
there
on
wasn't
the
as
coast.
much traffic, you would have made it in quicker time.
Or if you didn't have to drive, 30 miles out of the way to get around a waterfall
or a
fucking volcano,
yeah,
it would be even quicker.
Yeah,
these places are small.
And they're like Honolulu is one of the most congested cities
it's,
in the
it's,
United
it's,
States.
It's just, yeah.
Over New York City. Like, because...
Yeah, we're talking bigger than Houston, New York City, Miami, like the big ones.
But
Chicago, LA.
Cannot move out.
No.
And they don't...
There's no where for it to go. It's contained.
Right.
I feel bad for them. I really... And it sucks that they're being used as a political pawn like Puerto Rico was.
Yeah.
And, we just had a Hurricane Hillary Clinton, apparently, just destroyed California. But, man, they're...
Well, I mean, we can talk about that from living here and that...
Right. Like, I get it.
Well, and like, the circumstances in California...
That was Obama's fault for Katrina, by the way.
Yeah. Even though he wasn't even a senator yet. But, like... I get the with like California. I get that it's so dry and that literally any rain beyond a nice little sprinkle can cause catastrophic stuff.
And they had
I get
what
that.
amounts to 6 to 8 months of rain in 12 hours.
Yeah. Now, but you talk to the Gulf Coast and you say a Category 1, we're like, I don't even unplug my fridge for that.
I still went to work today.
Yeah, like, but
and I saw that and I was like, a tropical storm hit Vegas? Like
no, Vegas, and then and then the one that went up through Houston that we're not getting anything from.
No, hot knife through butter.
But that's what Hawaii scares me because you're talking about a tropical island that
surrounded by hot water.
Right, but that got so dry
that it burned.
And I find it interesting in that, every time Margaret or Steve Katz gets on to do a weather report down here in New Orleans, they're not talking about, like, it's dry as fuck down here.
We talked about it before, that we finally saw signs of burn hazards down here.
Don't use your burn can. Like,
we live below sea level.
If you don't live in the South, a burn can's a real thing. It is. It's a can you put shit in to burn. I mean,
you have to.
Self-explanatory. But that fact that, like, that shouldn't be an issue in an area that is essentially tropical where you should be getting enough rain.
Not essentially. It's
but
like
we've had like an inch of rain in 2 months.
Yes.
It's insane.
And it was that inch
of
rain came last weekend while we were recording.
Yeah. But it was only for like 5 minutes.
Correct.
And maybe 2 days ago there was same thing, like a 30, spot shower.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Today it was like it tried to, and maybe 83 drops fell out of the sky.
But down here where you can grow any plant up to monstrous sizes.
Have you seen the
everything's
weeds
dying.
In my yard?
Yeah.
I hope you kill those weeds. I'm not watering my fucking... I hate doing yard work, so I'm glad that my front yard is on fire. Just gonna say it.
Not that we don't have enough trees and shit to do.
Yeah, think
a wildfire, but then the surrounding. I mean, North Shore should be fucking worried right now.
Put it this way: if anything happened in New Orleans, it's gonna burn out before it hits the water.
Yeah, it'll be grass.
Right,
but
there's nothing here.
But I mean, but then again,
not rubbing it in.
We have houses that sit up that now are really dry.
That have basically,
so we could have like a pre-Spanish colonization fire.
They have kindling growing under their house.
Exactly.
Fucking Christ!
Where the only thing left will be the water pipes that everybody's worried about freezing over this winter.
The shit pipes below the fucking, the only thing below the surface of the ground in the swamp.
And for some houses.
Okay. We're going to talk about a super, super, super depressing, and wait, it's fine. We only gave ourselves 5 minutes, but I'm sure everybody's heard.
Well, another thing that fucking scares the shit out of me
Well, we live in New Orleans, which has flags everywhere.
Yeah.
There was a woman, a 67-year-old woman, who owned her store, who got murdered because she had a rainbow flag outside.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, we're killing people because of a flag.
So here's my point about this, is that, as you pointed out, a small business owner.
Yeah.
So the enraged, crazed, well, I won't say GOP, but the MAGA crowd is now saying
a significant portion of the country.
Right.
We'll just say that without
But yeah.
boxing them in.
But is that they are no longer for free enterprise
Nope.
if it goes against what they think. So they're no longer capitalists anymore.
They showed those colors 2 years ago with masks.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like, I got to wear a mask. I'm not shopping there. They're still doing that today.
But my thing is that if this continues, you can no longer say that you are, defenders of capitalism, because that's not capitalism. If it's a private business owner who wants to do whatever the fuck they want with their business, and
which is capitalism, that's definition.
Free enterprise.
That is the definition.
But you're saying you can't do that because you don't match my beliefs.
Because you have one item.
That is...
You deserve to die.
Right. So that's somebody who believes in a dictatorial government or a fascist-style government.
I'm sorry.
Again, not to beat it over the head, but that's what the Nazis did. They closed Jewish businesses because they were Jewish.
That's what just happened.
Yeah.
And they're trying to close Target or Bud Light.
Yeah.
Like that it's the same thing. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, they say the other side is woke, and yeah, they're fucking...
Or the other side's about cancel culture.
Right. And the other side, our side, if you want to call it, is fucking full of crazies. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you can't say that we're woke or cancel culture when and all we're just trying to do is bring attention to it. I gotta stop saying we. All they're trying to do is bring attention to it, where you're just like, I don't want to bring attention to it in a social media post. I want to shoot you with my 357.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what he had. He might not be Dirty Harry.
Well, and then of course now it opens that window of like, what was this guy looking at?
And
what
we
was
already
influencing
know.
him?
Like, I've read 2 or 3 articles that all said the same thing across the board, that he was on your Gab or your Telegram, and his pinned tweet was a rainbow flag.
4chan, Fortune.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
And his pinned tweet or his pinned X or whatever the fuck Elon's calling it these days was a rainbow flag on fire. That's just what it is. I gotta oil this chair.
I know, yeah.
I hope y'all hear that. Sounds great. I don't know where the end game is here. It's getting bad on both sides.
Yeah,
and I get one side's trying to defend themselves, and you got the other side spinning it. Fucking dog whistles everywhere.
Well, maybe that's going to be the running theme for this podcast, or this version of the podcast, which is, it has happened before and will happen again.
And it's only going to get worse before it gets better, because we still have a little over a year until November of next year.
Whatever you're looking at, we're at the apex of the infinity line.
Exactly.
So,
where everything...
hopefully we're at the apex.
This is the part of the movie that Christopher Nolan brings every...
The following Pulppourri podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulppourri is a privately produced podcast by Brock Ryder and Ben Grimmie, on social media and photography by Beck Ryder, original music by the Heisenberg Compensators.